The lot had always been there, a quiet, half-acre patch on the edge of the Maple Glen subdivision. It sloped slightly toward the creek, surrounded by wildflowers, cattails, and a few aging oak trees. Nobody paid much attention to it. To the homeowners, it was just an unkempt buffer between their perfect lawns and the natural world beyond. The owner, however, knew exactly what it was: his land. It was left to him by his grandfather, long before Maple Glen ever existed. When the HOA expanded the neighborhood, surveyors mistakenly drew the boundary a few feet too far, swallowing the lot into their printed map. It was a clerical oversight, buried deep within county records. Years passed, and the HOA's board changed hands. The property remained untouched, its ownership unnoticed. The owner, patient and quiet by nature, kept paying his minimal land tax each year, ensuring that the title stayed active and clean. It was his quiet investment, a forgotten corner with potential. Then one spring, everything changed. The HOA board, led by a new president named Denise, a woman who prided herself on improving community aesthetics, decided to build a playground. Their goal was to make Maple Glen family-friendly. They picked that very patch of land because it looked unused and perfectly central to the new walking paths. Without ever checking ownership records, they leveled the ground, poured new mulch and installed swings, slides, and a bright blue jungle gym. By summer, the playground was finished, cheerful, loud, and always full of children. The neighborhood loved it. Parents from nearby streets came every afternoon. Social media pages tagged it constantly: the Glen Grove Playground, best hidden gem. The name caught on. The HOA even made a sign for it. A little wooden board with white letters, planted right on the boundary line: "Welcome to Glen Grove Playground." The owners saw it all from afar. Every post, every photo, every geotag carried that same name. He said nothing. He simply watched and waited, because he knew what they didn't. The land they were standing on, the land beneath every swing and picnic bench, belonged entirely to him. And soon, that ignorance would cost them dearly. By midsummer, the Glen Grove Playground became more than just a neighborhood amenity, it became an attraction. Influencers from nearby towns began posting short videos there, praising its design and peaceful atmosphere. Drone shots of kids running beneath the oak trees gained thousands of likes. Someone even created a local travel blog post titled, "Hidden Paradise, Glen Grove Playground, the perfect family spot." Within weeks, Google Maps added it as a public location. Yelp followed. The HOA took pride in their success story, boasting about it in newsletters and community meetings. They even hosted small festivals, bake sales, dog parades, and outdoor movie nights, right on that plot. The landowner watched everything unfold online. Each event, each post, each enthusiastic comment became part of a growing digital footprint tied to a single name: Glen Grove Playground. He began collecting screenshots, videos, and mentions, quietly archiving everything. Then he did something no one expected. He trademarked the name. Under his own name, and under the exact category of public recreation and community spaces, he filed an application for Glen Grove Playground. Within months, it was approved. He also registered a small business entity under the same name. He created a simple logo, the same one the HOA had painted on their community board. He even printed it on paper banners, just to have proof of prior use and branding continuity. Meanwhile, the HOA continued expanding the playground: new picnic tables, upgraded swings, even a zip line funded by donations. The landowner didn't interfere. He never sent a warning, never posted a sign. He waited, strategically, for the attention to peak. It happened when a family YouTuber with 500,000 subscribers made a vlog titled, "We found the most peaceful playground ever, Glen Grove." The video exploded. Overnight, the location drew visitors from outside the county. Parking spilled over into nearby streets. Food trucks showed up on weekends. The HOA was thrilled. For now, they were local celebrities. But fame has a price. Because now, their playground wasn't just popular. It was profitable. And someone else, the rightful landowner, was ready to collect. The first letter arrived neatly typed, addressed to the Maple Glen Homeowners Association Board. It was formal, brief, and devastating. It stated in legal terms that the property known as Glen Grove Playground was privately owned and that the land had never been sold, leased, or transferred to the HOA. It included attached documentation, the original deed, survey maps, and a county assessor's report. At first, they ignored it, assuming it was an error. But the second envelope was harder to dismiss, a certified notice from the county clerk's office, confirming the ownership status. Panic rippled through the board. Denise, the president, convened an emergency meeting. The playground, their pride and joy, was built entirely on someone else's land. And now that same person held the trademark for its name. The owner made no threats. He didn't demand demolition or eviction. Instead, he made an offer, a license agreement. He proposed that the HOA could continue using the land under an annual lease, with additional fees for using the Glen Grove Playground brand name on any event, merchandise, or publication. The HOA called it absurd, but their lawyer's face told a different story. The landowner's case was airtight. Public sentiment complicated matters further. When word leaked to social media that the HOA had built the playground illegally, sympathy poured toward the landowner. Commenters praised his patience, calling it the ultimate quiet revenge. Still, the HOA refused to yield. They tried to rename the playground to something generic, Maple Kids Park. But that only made things worse. The new name failed to catch on, and visitors still tagged it by its viral name, Glen Grove Playground. Every tag, every video, every event banner now violated the trademark. And every violation meant money. The landowner didn't threaten. He simply invoiced them. The HOA took him to court, hoping to invalidate his claim. They argued that the land had been publicly integrated into the community for years, that the name belonged to the residents collectively. The landowner countered with calm precision. He presented tax receipts showing he'd paid for that land every year. He showed drone footage proving that the HOA's boundary markers never extended to his parcel. Most devastating of all, he showed the official trademark certificate and a list of recorded brand uses, from community banners to social media posts, all featuring his name. The judge ruled decisively. The land was his. The name was his. And the HOA had, in effect, commercially exploited his property and brand. They were ordered to pay retroactive licensing fees and damages. It wasn't ruinous, but it was humiliating. Within weeks, the HOA agreed to his original proposal. They would lease the land annually, under his terms. And so, the playground that had once been their pride became a quiet source of income for the man they'd ignored. As months passed, the arrangement settled into routine. The HOA paid monthly fees, and the playground continued to flourish. Years later, Glen Grove Playground became an official town landmark. It was featured in tourism guides, online maps, and even local television features. The landowner's quiet patience had turned oversight into opportunity. Every year, royalties came in steadily, from events, partnerships, and merchandising. Even the HOA's own annual fair operated under license. The man never gloated. He simply walked the grounds sometimes, listening to the laughter of children, the creak of swings, the hum of life. The land was no longer a forgotten corner. It was a symbol of wisdom, patience, and poetic justice. Because in the end, he didn't just win back his land. He turned their mistake into his legacy. And every swing of every child was a gentle reminder, never underestimate the quiet owner next door.